Hello, and welcome to today's webinar, Accelerating Learning with Proven Tutoring Programs. Before we begin, a few housekeeping notes. All attendees are muted on this webinar. To ask a question of our presenters, please type your question into the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen, and we will try to get to as many as we can. Finally, this event is being recorded, and the recording will be posted on Proven Tutoring's website soon. And with that, I'm going to hand things over to Jen to kick us off.
Good afternoon. Proven Tutoring is excited to have you here this afternoon. I think we all share a common goal of how to most effectively address unfinished learning this year. And that is what we're going to talk about today. Our Proven Tutoring Coalition is ready to share their programs with you. We have an exciting program for the next hour. Next slide. Today's agenda is we're going to begin with an overview of evidence-based tutoring programs. We're going to hear from Kevin Tell, a tutor turned teacher. We're going to explore a bit of our tutoring programs for your school. We're going to do a little bit of discussion on federal COVID relief funding. And then we'll have some time for questions and answers. Right now, I'd like to introduce Dr. Nancy Madden to give an overview of evidence-based tutoring programs. Dr. Madden is the Director of Evidence Research at the Center for Research and Reform in Education at the School of Education at Johns Hopkins University. She's also the CEO of Success for All, and she's going to begin our program today.
Hi, it is great that you all have joined us today. It is, as Jen said, an unprecedented moment in education. Most estimates are that students have lost an average of half a year of learning because of the COVID pandemic and the changes in school attendance patterns. The estimates for underserved communities are even higher, as students often didn't have access to virtual learning opportunities. This is on top of longstanding inequities. Prior to COVID, only 15% of students in urban or minority communities scored proficient on literacy by 4th grade on the National Assessment of Educational Progress. Similar urgent needs exist in math. So business as usual is not an option for the fall. Educators must provide students who are below grade level in reading and math with the most effective acceleration strategies we have. And those really revolve around tutoring according to the research that we have. Next slide. Researchers at the Johns Hopkins Center for Research and Reform in Education reviewed the impact of the most prominent strategies that educators use to improve student outcomes. These charts show the impact of various strategies. The table on the left compares literacy tools. The top bar shows the impact of tutoring programs that have evidence of effectiveness. The effect size, if you're familiar with that metric for estimating impact, for tutoring programs is 0.41. So we looked at different other kinds of strategies with the same lens. The effect size for summer school programs was found to be about 0.06, considerably smaller than tutoring. After school was smaller than that, and extended day and introduction of technology strategies both accounted for effect sizes that were less than 0.1. A similar pattern exists for math, which is shown on the table on the right. But even tutoring doesn't work automatically. For every example of an effective tutoring model we have, there are dozens of examples that fail. So we didn't feel comfortable saying, just tutor kids because there's no evidence that that kind of mandate is going to do what needs to be done for our students. Next slide, please. So we felt it was crucial to give educators easy access to information on programs that have shown their effectiveness. So we created ProvenTutoring.org to provide easy access to educators to information about the evidence on tutoring programs that work. Proven Tutoring is a nonprofit initiative that has pulled together proven tutoring programs that are ready to grow and to provide their proven model on a broad scale. The goal is to make information about these programs available free to educators. So how did we choose the models that are contained in ProvenTutoring.org? So we went first to the evidence base and looked for programs that were replicable and scalable and that met that met ESSA evidence standards. And ESSA is, of course, the federal law that defines a lot about how federal funding is available for schools. And it does identify an evidence criterion, which is fantastic. So high quality studies, such as RCTs, randomized controlled trials, or match studies that had educationally significant outcomes for students in reading and math were the first criterion that we used to select tutoring models that we would include in this forum for educators. We then asked, is there an organization that is available to provide this proven model at a large scale? Because clearly now what is needed is a big solution for the gaps in education. So we asked organizations to describe their capacity and their interest in providing large-scale services to a lot of students, to many schools. And we also asked programs if they had a commitment to provide those programs using the same tools for support and professional development that were provided during the studies that showed them to be effective. So those are essentially the three criteria that we used to go to the programs that had evidence of effectiveness and say, is this something that you're interested in scaling and standing behind at quality? So the next, the goal, as I said, is to provide this information broadly, because at this point, we do have in education another unprecedented event going on, and that is that funding is going to be broadly available for the implementation of proven strategies by schools. So we need to take advantage of this funding and do something that has not been available to schools prior to this, and that is to ask them to really look to proven models to spend this federal pot that is going to be available to accelerate students' learning. We know that in the past, funding has, when funding has been available, it has sometimes gone to things that work and sometimes gone to things that have been attractive but don't have a track record of actually making a difference for kids. So we put together this information we're wanting or attempting to make it broadly available so that it's easy for schools to find. And then our work is to make the information, make the folks aware of what is available, that there are proven tools available, and it's important to identify those and to search for those and to use them to meet the needs of their students at this critical time. So one of the benefits of the kinds of tutoring models that we've identified are that if we get lots of tutors into schools, many of those tutors will find out that they really like teaching and be introduced into the profession of teaching. And we have an example of one of those right now. Kevin Tell will be our next speaker.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me. My name is Kevin Tell, and I'm actually a great example of that transition from tutoring into teaching. When I graduated college about 10, 11 years ago, I had a degree in chemistry, but I didn't quite know what I wanted to do with it. I had done some contract work in labs. I thought about grad school, but I had realized that all those avenues weren't very enjoyable to me. They didn't kind of strike a nerve with me as being something I wanted to do. So I was kind of at a loss for a bit, not knowing what to do and how to proceed. Fortunately, a friend who had been doing Minnesota Math Corps, one of the programs you'll hear about later today, told me about reading in Math Corps and thought it might be a good opportunity for me to possibly try that and see kind of how I enjoyed it. So I ended up applying, and I served 2 years through AmeriCorps, served Minnesota, a year doing reading corps in an elementary school, and then the following year doing a year of Math Corps in a middle school. And needless to say, prior to joining AmeriCorps, I had always enjoyed helping people learn. Like in college, I would, help people study for chemistry tests or proofread people's papers, and I just liked helping people learn. But I had never really thought of teaching as a career. So when I got into schools, I was like, this is interesting. I could see myself working here. So I did my year in an elementary school, doing very scripted reading interventions all day with students. And I realized that the environment of the school was great, but I don't know if I was necessarily an elementary person, which kind of led to my transition to Math Corps, doing middle school. And I think it's there where kind of the light bulb went off in my head. And I was like, I can actually see a career here going forward, not just doing the interventions, pull-out style, helping students with math support, but just kind of seeing the vibe of the middle school, being able to check in and push into classrooms and help and kind of just learn how schools had changed even in the 10 years since I had been a student myself. So following kind of those 2 years of experience, I decided to enroll in a licensure program and kind of see if teaching was the route that I wanted to go. So I did this collaborative program called Twin Cities Teacher Collaborative via Hamline Institute or Hamline University. And this was a great transition. It kind of was geared towards people like me who had science degrees or math degrees, but weren't in the field of teaching to start with. So what happened was I was able to earn my license in a year doing full-time co-teaching as well as my pedagogy courses, which I thought was a fantastic transition just for me personally, staying in the classroom, staying in the building all day, and kind of growing. And what I found when I was doing my student teaching, that full year of co-teaching, is I had gained so much knowledge and experience from my 2 years of AmeriCorps that I was really kind of ahead of the game when it came to kind of my confidence. I had experienced lesson planning in some way, shape, or form, from the very, very scripted reading core to the more kind of flexible math core curriculum. I had the chance to observe, dozens of teachers doing what they did best, So I could kind of pick and choose aspects of their profession that I would want to implement myself. I was able to see how elementary school started and how the education had evolved into middle school, so that when I got to co-teaching, I had a feel for the progression, I had a feel for the strengths, for the challenges, for the circumstances of a variety of different types of students. So I kind of also had some nice background in that regard. So that when I finished my year, getting my license, I was able to be hired by Minneapolis Public Schools, where I've been ever since. And similarly, my first year of teaching sixth grade science at Sanford went really well, I think in large part because, again, I had evolved so much as a professional in education from my time in reading corps to math corps to my full year licensure program. So that I was kind of ahead of the game, again, with the skills, the background, the knowledge, and the kind of awareness of who I wanted to be, what kind of students I wanted to work with, and kind of where I wanted my professional journey to go. So I've been at Sanford ever since. I'm coming in on my 8th year of teaching there. Still loving it as much as I enjoyed my first few days of reading corps, my first few days of math corps. Just being around students, feeling their energy, learning, helping them when they struggle, and kind of evolving from there. As of the last couple of years, I've even been able to take on some more additional duties in my school, I think in part just because of how quickly I picked up my practice through the years I spent in schools, even before I was a licensed teacher, through tutoring. So I think in a lot of ways, the tutoring experience was a great gateway for me to becoming a teacher, not only for giving me the experience, giving me the time and the place to observe, giving me the confidence, but also just a great place to open my eyes to the fact that teaching could be a career and not just something you do for fun, casually, that you can really make a difference this way. So hopefully there's other people who will have experiences like mine and can also transition to teaching. I know at least 3 or 4 others who have followed this path like I have, that I work with now. So it's a great opportunity. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pass on to our next speaker. So go ahead, next slide.
Thank you, Kevin. As you can see, in addition to the academic impact that tutoring has, there are also opportunities for students to develop supportive relationships with an invested adult. So thank you, Kevin, for sharing your story. I'd like to talk a little bit now about our proven tutoring programs. Nancy talked a lot about the evidence base, and that is a very important component to think about when you're looking at tutoring programs. All of our tutoring programs, the whole vehicle, the whole package has been evaluated and proven to work. Our programs are very unique, but they do have an effective model that is structured with an instructional process. They provide high dosage tutoring 3 to 5 times per week. They offer one-to-one or small group options, as well as ongoing assessments to benchmark student growth. All of our programs use paid tutors with college degrees, and they provide ongoing professional development and coaching. Next slide. So how do you learn more about our programs? You have a few options. As Nancy mentioned, we wanted to make the information accessible to everyone. So we do have a website, www.proventutoring.org. And when you reach that website, you can begin using one of the primary features, and that is our program descriptions. So when you go onto our website, you can choose between reading programs and math programs. Next slide. When you search for our reading programs, you will see they are organized by grade band. Some of the programs, and we have 17 programs, 12 providers. Some of our programs provide services in multiple grade levels. So as you can see, early literacy, grades K through 3, we have ECRI, Experience Core, Future Forward, LLINTS, Linda Mood Bell Learning Processes, TRI, Tutoring with the Lightning Squad. And you'll see some of those programs again at the elementary level. And we also have a middle school option, which is theme reads, and that really serves upper elementary to middle school students. Okay, next slide. When you're on our website, you can also look at our plethora of math programs. We offer early math, elementary math, and middle and high school math. And each of our program providers are independent. They have come to join this coalition to be a unified voice. But if you choose one of the tutoring programs, you work directly with that experienced and established program provider. So our early math programs include Galaxy Math, Number Rockets, Whole Number Foundations, Pirate Math. Elementary math includes Some of the Same, in addition to Math Core and Fraction Face-Off. And then we have middle and high school math. Math Core serves students in grades 4 through 8. Saga Math serves students in grades 9 and 10 and specializes in algebra and geometry. Next slide. So this is a snapshot of what you will see when you visit our website. Each of those programs has a program page. You can find information about the professional development model, progress monitoring approach, the research and the studies to back up the program. You can also look at this table, which is at the top of each program description, and learn right away what type of group size their tutoring programs use, what type of tutor type. Some of our programs work with AmeriCorps or a third-party vendor to provide tutors to the school. Others work with the tutors that a school provides, and we have a wide range of both. You can also learn about the program's technology requirements, the curriculum, the program operation. Okay, next slide. So just to give you an idea, this is information you would learn by visiting our site. 2 of our reading programs, for example, offer one-to-one student tutoring. Others provide both one-on-one or small group, and others provide small group. And this includes both our reading and math programs. And again, when you look at each program description, it's very clear at the top what type of approach each program takes. Okay, next slide. So right now, rather than look at the website, we're going to hear a little bit about each program, a quick snapshot from each of our providers. As I mentioned, we have 17 programs and 12 providers in our coalition. And we are going to begin right now with our first presenter. I'm going to hand it over to Hank.
Hi there, my name is Hank Feen, and I'm zooming in from Eugene, Oregon at the University of Oregon. And the program I'll be describing is Enhanced Core Reading Instruction, or ECRI. It's a K-3 MTSS reading model school-wide that has demonstrated and proven efficacy. We've shown that we can accelerate reading skill development for struggling readers, including those students with mild to moderate dyslexia risk. It also has been shown to be very efficacious for English learners. ECRI builds upon reading programs that schools already have in place and provides explicit Tier 1 and Tier 2 materials to support struggling readers. So we provide very explicit vocabulary, comprehension, phonemic awareness, phonics, and fluency instruction in the general classroom, and then provide small group Tier 2 daily explicit instruction in foundational reading skills. The program provides in-depth professional development and on-site coaching, teaching teachers the science of reading, and working with teachers and paraprofessionals and tutors to provide high-quality, daily explicit intervention supports. We provide screening, progress monitoring, and mastery assessments, and protocols for database decision-making for making educational decisions for students to make sure we're accelerating them through the program. The program is flexible to deliver before, during, or after school, or in summer learning programs. We've been able to provide complete remote instruction and intervention with several states in about a dozen districts over the last year during COVID. So it's very flexible to implement in person or remote or hybrid. Finally, we have the strongest level of rating on ESSA. We're the only MTSS reading model that has the highest level rating on NCII, National Center for Intensive Interventions, WWC, and Evidence for ESSA. And we have a partnership with Catapult Learning and our nonprofit, the Institute for Scaling Evidence-Based Education, icb.org. And that's who you can contact if you have any questions about the program. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dave Handy. I'm Director of Field Services for the ARP Foundation Experience Corps team. We've been around for over a quarter of a century, born out of the idea of John Gardner, who was then Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare. His idea was carried forward by Mark Friedman of Encore and Linda Fried, who was then a researcher at Johns Hopkins. They did a pilot test in the mid-90s with literacy as the focus for how older adults could have a high impact on a social problem. We are an evidence-based, volunteer-supported literacy program with a focus on early readers, 1st through 3rd grade. We're growing into the kindergarten space. We focus on improving overall reading ability by building fluency skills. What we do is we try to add to the time children spend in classroom learning to read by providing additional sessions through which they can practice their fluency skills repeatedly. So we recruit, train, and screen volunteers 50 and older. We provide over 25 hours of training and professional development for new tutors and at least 20 hours for returning tutors, targeting schools that are in high need communities where a significant portion of kids K through 3 are reading below grade level. We are able to work across venues. Next slide, please. So we're effective in school and out of school. We can work in a pull out where we're outside the classroom, or push in where we're working in a side of a classroom, but we're also effective in the after school settings. We've got a number of partnerships with Boys and Girls Clubs. We're effective in person and virtually. We maybe delivered, in this past year, we were able to deliver our sessions through Teams, Meets, Zooms, whatever. And that included sharing our mentoring skills and mentoring relationships with a focus on SEL. Really, the core of Experience Corps is the relationship between the older adult and the child provides a safe space where a young person can practice their fluency skills. So 100% of our programs were able to deliver virtual tutoring this past school year. And in terms of our outcomes on the next slide, you'll see that 65% of our students improved their reading and literacy improvement by half a grade or more, meaning they're closing the gap on their same age peers. We also had 80% who improved their social emotional learning indicators. Teachers find us helpful in that 92% said that the tutor had a moderate or strong impact on performance. What we do know is that purposeful activity in the life of an older adult also produces positive outcomes, including reversing declines in brain volume, including increased generativity was their commitment to their community, their school, as well as improvements in physical strength, improvements in social networks, and improvement in cognitive functioning. And we, as are the other programs, are recognized as a tier 1, having strong evidence within the ESSA rating. For more information, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. On the next slide, you'll see our contact information.
Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for your time today, for joining us and your interest in learning about effective tutoring interventions. I am with Future Forward Literacy, which is a program of the nonprofit Education Analytics. We are a high dosage one-on-one tutoring and family engagement program for struggling readers from kindergarten through 3rd grade. We are in many ways similar to a lot of our peers on this call, very proud to be part of this opportunity with so many great programs for you all to learn about. And so I just really wanted to focus briefly on some of the things that make our program a little bit different, maybe a slightly better fit for some folks and maybe not the best fit for others. But that's one of the really cool things about this opportunity, is that there are a lot of highly effective programs here for you to choose from to meet the learning needs of your school community. I believe on the next slide, we talk a little bit more about both the tutoring and the family engagement there. So again, we are a high dosage tutoring program, one-on-one with paid professional tutors that work individually with a child throughout the length of their time in the program. All of our lessons are highly customized. They're designed and individualized. After every tutoring session, the tutor then works to make sure that the next time they meet with the child, the lesson either reinforces concepts that the child needed a little more time with in the session before, or moves them forwards towards whatever next progressive skill it is that they need to learn. And co-equal to our model is family engagement. So every school that we work with has a dedicated family engagement coordinator that ensures that a child's caregiver is very much a part of the child's learning journey. We do home visits, we do family events, we do regular outreach, and in that way, we ensure that the whole community that surrounds a child, the learning community from home to school, is involved in and wrapped in the child's learning process. And I believe on our last slide here, we just have a little bit about some of the evidence. We have had many studies over the last decade looking at the program in terms of our impact on reading scores, also on school day attendance. Our program has been proven to be statistically significant in affecting attendance and reducing chronic absenteeism. And we have some really exciting new research that we released this spring, or that our external research partner, our external evaluators at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee released this spring, looking at the longitudinal effect of our program on students 5 years after they received Future Forward services, indicating that students retained an effect from Future Forward. And we do not have causal relationships that we can prove, but we are under the impression, we believe that it's probably because of that intense family engagement component that really helps reshape some aspects of the home environment and helps students to retain the impact of the program for many years after they're done working with their tutor. And our contact information is there, and we would absolutely love to share any additional information or answer questions from folks. Thank you so much.
Hi there, I'm Jamie Lipp from The Ohio State University. OSU and Lesley University are proud to partner and offer you Leveled Literacy Intervention National Tutoring Scale Up. Leveled Literacy Intervention is a scientifically based intervention to service K-2 students performing significantly below grade level in reading and writing. Tutors will be trained to teach responsively. They'll teach students in small group lessons daily for 30 minutes each day. Next slide. We offer a comprehensive and unique training model. So school-based tutors will be trained collaboratively by university trainers from The Ohio State University and Lesley University. They will receive 75 hours of virtual training across a school year that will be offered in asynchronous and synchronous formats. Next slide. And leveled literacy intervention is backed by rigorous independent research, including What Works Clearinghouse, who found positive effects for beginning readers. It is a part of Fountas and Pinnell Literacy. And if you would like to learn more, we have our contact information below. And we also have a complimentary webinar happening on July 22nd from 3:30 to 4:30 Eastern Standard Time. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Paul Worthington with Lindenwood Bell Learning Processes. Thanks for joining us. Lindenwood Bell has been around since 1986. We began on the research side of things by addressing a invitation from the National Institutes of Health to look at one of the reading programs. At the time, it was called the AD program. It's now referred to as Lindenwood Bell Phoneme Sequencing Program. Since that time, we've expanded throughout the United States, and we're now international. On the school side, the research has continued into another program that looks at symbol imagery associated with the multisensory components of learning how to read, all applicable to elementary age children, predominantly in the LIPS program with K through 2. K3. The mission is to address all the sensory-based functions for decoding and encoding. What's interesting about the evolution of our research, and I'll talk more about that in a minute, has to do with the what ultimately came out in the National Reading Panel report, taking a look at all 5 components of reading. And in fact, if we look at the next slide, there's a focus also. We see that in schools, 25% of the population don't have specific decoding issues. We've developed research that I'll note here in a second in terms of addressing issues with language comprehension for children who are in school environments that absolutely need to have their language comprehension issues addressed. Next slide. The initial evidence and the documentation for tutoring was research, as I said earlier, at the Florida Center for Reading Research on the best current methods, if applied broadly, based upon the work that was published by Torgerson down at the Florida State University, was that if effective tutoring has been outlined in our colleagues who have already addressed this before me, as well as Nancy from Johns Hopkins, is that the statistics is that anywhere from 2 to 6% of the children with inadequate word reading skills in the 1st and 2nd grade, that could be a statistic much better than what we know now on the statistics where significant numbers of kids are not learning to read. The effect sizes in the research have been consistently excellent, starting with a study in the LIPS program in 2000. And over the last 10 years, we've documented the efficacy of tutoring data on over 30,000 kids. Currently, we have full district-wide initiatives in the states of Colorado, Michigan, Arkansas, Florida, and North Carolina. I've just got a quick reference here. Above and beyond the classroom and or school-based work, we've been investing heavily in the neuroscience side of it, of the programs that we've been involved in our collaborations, all published in the peer-reviewed literature at Georgetown, MIT, at the University of Washington, and also on the comprehension side of things at the University of Alabama. If you're interested in the work that we're currently doing in schools across the country, there's our contact information. Please feel free to give us a call. We're very happy to join Johns Hopkins and be a part of this overall initiative. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tiff Zapico, and I am here today to talk to you about our Reading Rescue program. Reading Rescue is a program that is focused on targeting 1st graders, typically who are entering at a level C in the beginning of the school year, which typically would be at the top of the bottom 25% of your readers. And we have a 2-pronged approach to our mission. One is that we help schools create intervention programs using existing or new staff members who will be trained in research-based strategies that are all based in the reading of science, who will then implement the Reading Rescue lesson framework in a 30-minute session. So it's beautiful because we will provide existing staff members or new staff members with the knowledge and skills that they need to know to how to actually teach reading to our students, but using methods that we know work. So the teachers and educators and people that we hire are very excited because they're learning skills that they can use forever, and they're putting those skills to work with students who are in need of one-on-one intervention. We do this, we also have a small group model, but in our 1st year of partnering with schools, we implement the one-to-one model, and then as it scales and grows, we introduce our small group model, which can have up to 3 children in a group. As I mentioned, our Reading Rescue lesson is 5 parts, which includes fluency building, comprehension, vocabulary, phonics and phonemic awareness. And the beauty of this is we train all of our instructors or tutors in how to implement these parts of the lesson effectively using methods that are based in reading science. Our program is very assessment driven, and we have been around since the 1990s. We work currently in the New York City Public Schools, serving over 140 and over 200 to date of the New York City Public Schools, and are the main summer program for the Summer Rising program with New York City students. On average, we see our students gain 8 to 10 intervention levels in just 12 to 16 weeks of tutoring. And we also monitor the growth of foundational reading skills with our program. And the goal is mastery of those foundational reading skills so that the students that participate leave feeling fluent, confident, and excited about becoming one-on-one readers. With the program, we give all training and support to the instructors that you hire, and hopefully we'll be using federal funds to subsidize the costs. But we also work with our partners to make a philanthropic plan that leads to a sustainable program in your school that becomes a part of your school's culture to get all of your students, hopefully starting in first grade, to become lifelong readers. So we supply the professional development, we supply all of the supplies that you will need. We are very, very data driven. So our support includes data driven support and systems to help your instructors and tutors analyze the student data. And we have a lot of research on our program that you are welcome to check out on our website. It's readingrescue.org/research to find out more. But we are a very successful evidence-based program, and we continue to do research and evolve the program to make sure that it's constantly aligning with the latest findings in reading science. My contact information is there. My name is Tiffany Zapico. I'm the Chief Operating Officer. You're more than welcome to reach out to us if this sounds like a good fit. And like I said, we work very closely with schools to help subsidize costs. And we have different licensees throughout the country, most recently working with CUNY University. We're really excited to expand to new sites. So thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Heather Aiken, and I am the Intervention Director for Targeted Reading Instruction, or TRI. We are a high-impact reading intervention designed for K-2 readers. Our tutors work with students one-on-one, and what we do at TRI is we provide weekly virtual coaching for the tutor or teacher that's working with the student. And I just want to say we've been doing this virtual coaching for about 10 years, so we predate COVID when everybody else came on to our virtual world. So what would our program look like? Well, your school would hire someone to serve as your tutor. Your tutor could serve approximately 60 to 80 students over the course of the year. Each student would receive 8 to 10 weeks of intervention. They would meet with their tutor 5 days a week for 15 minutes a day. Next slide, please. We will provide you with an evidence-based scope and sequence, but you also have the opportunity, because you're working one-on-one, your tutor will be able to design that instruction to pinpoint the needs of each individual student. We have documented student gains in decoding, comprehension, and fluency. We've been evaluated as effective by What Works Clearinghouse and have a strong rating from Evidence for ESSA. And one of the great things about us is we're going to be a low-cost investment, because once you pay for this initial year where we're providing the professional development and the weekly coaching, you will have continued access to all of our materials and resources at no further cost. Next slide, please. And I just want to end with right here, you can see an image of an actual TRI lesson. You can see the teacher working with a student doing some hands-on word work. And in that bottom corner, that's one of our literacy coaches who's providing that in-person immediate feedback and support to the teacher so that she can help her make those decisions and also ensure that she's providing TRI activities the way they were designed to be provided. We have both our email and our website up on the slide, and we look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Christine Sasantos Levy, and I support tutoring with the Lightning Squad through the Success for All Foundation. It is a technology-assisted small group reading intervention model in a game-like setting for students in grades 1 through 5, with a focus on phonics, fluency, comprehension, and vocabulary using game-like activities. The kids love to play the games, which is very important that they want to do that. It is a 30-minute session every day, and the students are tutored every day for 30 minutes in a small group setting with 2 students to 1 device, or up to 6 students for 3 devices, with the tutor supporting the session. Next slide, please. Our activities were created by Sesame and Serious Thinking alongside with the Success for All Foundation. They are fast and easy lessons where the software, we first assess the students with a one-to-one assessment to gauge where they will be, and then they progressively move throughout the program with challenging stories, with 1 student being the reader and 1 student being the coach, working cooperatively throughout the games to build their learning experience. We are tracking throughout the data for the students, and we are meeting weekly with teachers at the school, as well as sending home parent progress reports so that the families also know where their students are progressing and their areas of growth and where they need to continue to support. We also have home link videos that are follow-up videos for the families to have some engagement time with their students on what they have been learning through their Lightning Squad experience with their session. Next slide, please. We also, along with all of our other colleagues, are #1 strong evidence ESSA rating. And in 2017, Johns Hopkins University did a study with Tutoring with Lightning Squad where the students did double their reading growth throughout their time frame. And in Baltimore City, we are currently hiring the tutors for the district, for the schools that have been participating. And last year we went from 8 schools to 16 schools just in Baltimore. Even though there was COVID, we were able to support the students through the pandemic, and we showed gains for the students. Even though attendance was tough, of course, we still had the gains of students getting closer and closer to grade level, with some actually starting the fall 2021 grade level on grade level, which is very exciting. So tutoring plus the technology really makes for more of an impact for the students because it's very meaningful, and you have that tutor right there with the students to help and to reinforce and to motivate, and most importantly, to set goals with the students so that they know they can be successful when they go back into the classrooms. So if you have any questions, please reach out to us at sfainfo@successforall.org. Thank you and have a great day.
Hi there. I am Susan Davis, and I'm part of the Theme Reads team here at the offices of the Success for All Foundation. And Theme Reads helps struggling readers in grades 4 through 8 who are reading below grade level. It uses the text model used in Quick Reads, although it is now part of the Success for All family of programs. The model helps students gain automaticity by reading frequently used words repeated often within and among texts in short sentences. Students can focus on word meaning and not lose their train of thought trying to decode harder words. The content of the text is on topics by theme, which helps students form relationships about what they're reading. Students in Theme Reads work in pairs at shared computers. One tutor oversees 4 students at a time. You can go to the next slide. Tutors provide 9 30-minute sessions every day, seeing 36 children. And student progress is shared with teachers and parents every week. There are regularly scheduled progress assessments that make sure that students are on track. And the tutors receive training and regularly scheduled coaching visits. And on the next slide, it talks a little bit about the research. Theme Reads as Quick Reads was evaluated in 3 studies, and all 3 found positive effects on measures such as the Gort and the Woodcock, with an effect size of 0.21. And these outcomes meet the qualifications for the ESSA Strong category by Evidence for ESSA. So the contact information is below, and thank you for your time.
Good afternoon. My name is Sadie O'Connor, and I'll be talking with you about the Reading Core and the Math Core. To start, Reading Core provides targeted early literacy support to students in kindergarten through 3rd grade. You can go to the next slide. Reading Core tutors serve for 1 year as full-time AmeriCorps members. So tutors are placed into a school. They serve 5 days a week, and they provide supplemental practice of foundational skills, focusing on phonemic awareness, phonics, and fluency. Tutors meet one-on-one or in pairs with students for 20 minutes each day during the school day. A full-time tutor works with between 15 to 18 students each day. You can go to the next slide. Like all of the other programs here today, Reading Core has strong evidence. Reading Core has been shown to be effective at improving students' literacy outcomes in multiple high-quality research studies. We have multiple large-scale randomized control trials that show Reading Core produces a significant and positive effect on those foundational reading skills. So sort of put into simple terms, Reading Core adds the equivalent of about a half a year to a full year, depending on the grade level, of reading growth to students who don't receive the Reading Core intervention. We have also found that tutors from all backgrounds can be successful. With Math Core, very similar to Reading Core, our tutors are full-time AmeriCorps members. Math Core supports students in building pre-algebra skills in 4th through 8th grade. Next slide. Math Core targets students in need of Tier 2 intervention. Tutors provide supplemental support using lesson plans that target conceptual understanding, computational fluency, and word problem solving. Math Core members use manipulatives and explicit instruction to reinforce math concepts that are taught in the classroom. Students are tutored in groups of 2 or 3 in 4th through 8th grade for approximately 90 minutes a week. Next slide. Math Core also has strong evidence. Multiple large-scale randomized control trials have shown Math Core produces a significant and positive effect on math skills. On average, students in Math Core gain 2 to 3 months of additional math skills compared to peers who do not receive the Math Core. Thank you.
Hi, I'll be talking about whole number foundations, level K and 1. These programs are designed to accelerate the math achievement of struggling students in the area of whole number concepts and skills. They're designed as Tier 2 math intervention programs, and both programs cover the Common Core state standards for their respective grade level. The kindergarten program covers 50 lessons, 20 minutes each, and the 1st grade program covers 60 lessons of 30 minutes each. Programs come with a teacher's guide, program assessments, and manipulatives, and the programs are available in English and Spanish. Next slide. We have a dual focus on first building conceptual understanding through the use of multiple representations, both concrete and representational math models, and then taking that conceptual understanding and applying it to a variety of problems and skills, and eventually building to procedural fluency within those. The lessons are scripted and they're designed to be delivered by almost anyone in the school setting. In most of our research studies, we use instructional assistants, so we leverage existing resources within schools, so you don't have to have additional resources applied to that. The programs have lots of opportunities to engage in math discourse and multiple opportunities to respond, so kids are engaged in the language of mathematics. Next slide. The programs have undergone multiple rigorous evaluations all across the United States, in Texas, California, Massachusetts, Oregon, among others. And we have particularly strong effects for students that are at-risk learners, including English language learners. And the programs are particularly effective for students who enter with the lowest initial skills. That is, we get our greatest impact for students that have the greatest level of need as they enter the programs. The programs are available through the CTL Marketplace. If you have questions or want additional information, you can email the contact information there, Julie Watts at ctl@uoregon.edu. Thanks.
Okay. I don't see myself. Can everybody hear me? I don't know.
Yes, we can.
Okay, perfect. So my name is Brittany Martin, and I'm a research associate here at the Fuchs Research Group. And today I'm actually going to talk about 4 programs we have in our group. The first program is called Galaxy Math. And this is a structured tutoring program designed for first grade students who are struggling with mathematics at the beginning of first grade. And this program really focuses on strengthening number knowledge, using efficient counting strategies to solve basic addition and subtraction problems, and some work with 2-digit addition and subtraction problems. We do have a behavior component embedded into the program to allow them to earn prizes and build that motivation. On the next slide, I outline the program. Put the next slide for me. So with our program, it comes with a detailed tutor manual, which includes these easy to use activity guides, which really outlines every step of the lesson. We have full color posters, worksheets, flashcards, all of those things. And this program can be given individually or in small groups, 30 minutes a lesson, 3 times a week for 16 weeks. And we do offer professional development if needed. The next program I want to talk about is another first grade program called Number Rockets. Again, it's for first graders who are struggling with mathematics, but this program really focuses on those early number competencies, starting at identifying and writing numbers, understanding kind of magnitude comparison, using the greater than, less than, equal sign, skip counting, and also counting strategies for addition and subtraction. If you'll go to the next slide. Again, we have a fully, we call it a scripted manual. It's kind of a guided scripting. You don't have to follow it word for word, with easy to use activity guides, worksheets, flashcards. This program is designed for small groups, 40 minutes a session, 3 times a week. And we also, this program has some differential pacing, so you can kind of slow down the pacing if your students need more time on a lesson. And again, we have professional development for tutors as needed. Now, the next program we have is called Pirate Math. Pirate Math is offered for first, second, and third grade students who are struggling with math. In Pirate Math, the major focus is on solving word problems and using arithmetic strategies to solve those word problems. It teaches 3 types of word problems. So total, where we're combining 2 amounts, difference, where we're comparing 2 amounts, or change, where one amount is increasing or decreasing. In this program, we also teach them how to ignore that irrelevant information that's sometimes in there to trick them, how to set up an equation to solve the problem, how to solve the problem, and then go back to check to make sure their answer makes sense. If you'll go to the next slide for me. So with each grade level, the manual, of course, kind of increases the complexity of the word problems. And this can be delivered individually or in small groups, about 30-35 minutes per lesson, 3 times a week for 16 weeks. And again, we provide a full guided scripted lesson, attractive, colorful posters, activity guides, etc. And then the last program I wanted to touch on is called Fraction Face Off. And this is, again, a structured tutoring program for 4th grade students who are struggling with math at the beginning of the year. And this has a few components. It focuses on fraction magnitude, so comparing fraction sizes, ordering them on a number line, finding equivalent fractions. It also focuses on some basic calculations, so adding fractions, subtracting, multiplying, etc. And then finally, some fraction word problems to really contextualize them as they would appear in everyday situations. Next slide. So this program again comes with a fully detailed tutor manual, and it's designed to be delivered in small groups, 30 to 35 minutes a lesson, 3 times a week for 13 weeks. If you'll go to the next slide. If you're interested in any of these programs, on our website, you can either scan this QR code or visit that website at the bottom. You can actually see an excerpt from all of our manuals if you want to get an idea of what that guided scripting looks like. You can also see some worksheet samples and so on. Each of our programs have multiple randomized control trials showing how effective it has been in increasing performance. And those are also outlined on our website. Thank you.
SAG Education provides high dosage math tutoring to 9th and 10th grade students in Algebra 1 and Geometry. We are currently working to build out our middle school curriculum for a 22-23 school year launch for grades 6 through 8. Next slide, please. Our tutoring model provides students with daily tutoring during the school day as either an elective course or a core course towards their graduation credits. Our tutors work with students in small groups of 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, having an overall caseload for the year of 24 or 26 students. And one of the things is we partner and collaborate with the teachers to align our standards-based curriculum with the standards that the teacher is teaching, so that the students are seeing the material being taught by the teacher first and then reinforced at the grade level during tutoring sessions. Right now, we are no longer offering our direct services model where we provide the tutors and the staff to schools. Our deadline for that is actually April 1st, but we are offering technical assistance around all of the models and the structures that we have that we know that work with tutoring for high school students, along with program design, training for the tutors or the leaders, our curriculum, and any other implementation supports that schools or districts are looking as they're thinking about launching a tutoring program. We've also launched a free tutor training portal called Saga Coach, and we will be releasing our curriculum for pre-algebra, algebra 1, algebra 2, and integrated math 1, 2, and 3 for other people to use for free this fall. Next slide, please. We are Tier 2 ESSA rated, and in a study conducted by the University of Chicago, students assigned to Saga roughly doubled the math growth of an average high school student over 1 year. If you are interested in learning more, my contact information is on the screen. Thank you.
Okay, it is 2 o'clock. So I'm going to ask that we forward to our last slide, the learn more about proven tutoring programs. I want to thank all of our program providers for taking the time to explain their programs. I know it's a lot to digest. We are going to send the PowerPoint and a recording of the webinar. We'll make that available to anyone who's interested. You can reach out to the program providers directly through their website or contact information, or you can learn more about their programs through our ProvenTutoring.org website, and that also has contact information for each program. As Nancy mentioned before, we are at a unique moment. We have proven scalable solutions to address unfinished learning, and now we have funding that is asking states and local education agencies to invest in evidence-based interventions to address the issue. So we ask that you think about our information and please reach out to us if you have any questions. You can always email Proven Tutoring at info@proventutoring.org, and you can find that email on our website. Okay. And we're happy to continue answering questions and continuing the conversation. Thank you.